The potentials for livestock farming abound in West African region. However, similar challenges confronting nations in the sub-region have somehow barred them from maximizing the potentials. These challenges include climate change, pressure from population growth, cultural practices, farmers-herders clashes, transboundary pests and diseases, among others. To address these challenges requires regional approaches and commitment of each of the West African countries as a necessary step for the development of the sector. Towards this end, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has launched initiatives to help the region harness the initiatives in livestock subsector. Tonight, we shall see some of the initiatives by the regional body alongside other stakeholders to address the challenges of livestock development in the West African region. In particular, we shall be looking at how these initiatives impact on Nigeria as a country. I am your regular host, Gabriel Ojile. Welcome you to the program Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria. Keep watching.
Every part of Nigeria has something to offer.
Our program starts with news from the diary of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. In our lineup tonight, Agric Ministry assures commitment to soil health to ensure food security. Also, Nigeria Hunters and Forest Security Services seek collaboration to safeguard farmers. Details coming up shortly. The federal government has assured the Soil Science Society of Nigeria and citizens at large that the present administration will remain committed to mitigate climate change, promote soil health, and ensure food security in Nigeria.
To ensuring the nation's food and nutrition security.
The Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Ali Sabi Abdullahi, stated this in his keynote address during the 48th annual conference of the Soil Science Society of Nigeria held in Abuja. The minister said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had identified in his speech to the United Nations desert encroachment in northern Nigeria, flooding and erosion in the middle and southern Nigeria as threats to the development of agriculture in Nigeria. The minister stated that the challenges must be addressed to guarantee food security.
The government is committed to ensuring the nation's food and nutrition security. Therefore, it is very important to promote soil health and climate-smart agriculture, allocate resources to research and development, support policy and institutional frameworks, encourage investment from private sector, and empower our smallholder farmers. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is currently promoting the Nigerian Farmer Soil Health Card Scheme as a key priority and significant intervention for sustainable agriculture.
The soil was the key to mitigating climate change.
Also speaking during the conference, the president of Soil Science Society of Nigeria, Professor Jibril Mohammed Jibril, stated that the increasing population pressure and the result of some practices amplifies soil degradation. He added that 30% of Nigeria's soil has been degraded and that without necessary action, it will be degraded by 90% by 2050.
Implementing practices that promote soil health can reverse soil degradation and manage nutrients, water, and beneficial organisms in the soil, making the land resilient to extreme weather events and thus enhancing food security. The recent launching of the National Farmer Soil Health Card Scheme is quite commendable. We also appreciate the inclusion of the Soil Science Society of Nigeria, the Nigerian Institute of Soil Science, and our professional colleagues in the steering committee of this scheme.
The Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Services has sought for collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to contribute their quota in safeguarding the lives of farmers and ensure food security in Nigeria. This request for collaboration was made during a courtesy call by the organization to the Minister of State of Agriculture and Food Security in Abuja.
Hunters need to be recognized by law.
Speaking during the visit, the Commander General, Nigeria Hunters and Forest Security Services, Dr. Osatemein Joshua Wale, stated that the organization has undergone series of training with the Nigerian police and other security agencies, and it has what it takes to make great impact in safeguarding the lives of farmers.
One of the key reasons why we visit your esteemed officer, the Honorable Minister, sir, is to collaborate with you, with the ministry, on how food security can be achieved in Nigeria. We all know, I read a publication that in 2 years' time, if care is not taken, Nigeria will start importing yam, which I believe Benue is the basket of the nation, and the people could not even go to farm again. So we have our member in numbers, knowing the terrain and knowing the interconnectivity of operation within the forested region. All what we need is the support of the critical stakeholders like your ministry.
Let me thank you also for your resilience.
In his response, the Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, appreciated the organization for its contribution and urged them to contribute in intelligence gathering to the national security agencies, as their members are present in all nooks and crannies of the country.
You touched on something that is deeply associated with our cultural values, and we know those who go into hunting for different reasons, but most importantly, you realize it is a passion, far more than even maybe a calling. But they are a valued and valuable members of every single village community in this country. So to give them a pride of place by having an organized system, it's very, very important, it's timely.
The West African region is richly blessed with livestock, but the potentials are under-tapped due to several issues. This is why the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, is developing a strategy to tackle the challenges headlong and increase productivity. In our next segment, we are focusing on highlights of ECOWAS strategies and approaches to address the challenges and issues that concern livestock production in the region. Stay tuned.
The Economic Community of West African States is originally made up of the 15 member countries that are located in the West African region. These countries include Benin, Cape Verde, Côte d'Ivoire, the Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Nigeria, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and Togo. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso recently pulled out of a regional organization. Senegal is one of the countries of ECOWAS whose economy is mainly based on agriculture. Livestock farming is practiced in at least 29.5% of Senegalese households. In 2016, the herds in Senegal were estimated to include 3,541 million cattle, about 7 million sheep, and 6 million goats, which contributes to about 27.4% of the nation's GDP. Similarly, in 2018, the livestock population in Burkina Faso was made up of 10 million cattle, 12 million goat, 9 million sheep, and more than 40 million poultry, including guinea fowl. Livestock farming plays an important role in Burkina Faso's economy, contributing 18% to GDP and 26% to export earnings. Animal husbandry is an important source of subsistence for 80% of the Burkinabe population. Herds in Niger Republic in the year 2000 was estimated to include 2,216,500 cattle, 11 million sheep, 410,000 camel, 39,000 pigs, 23,500,000 poultry, among others. Niger's economy depends to a large extent on the livestock sector, which contributes almost 15% of the national GDP. It is worthy of note that livestock farming is a key sector of the economy in Mali, practiced by over 85% of the population. In 2018, the national herd was estimated about 11 million cattle, 36 million small ruminants, 539,000 horses, 1 million donkeys, and 38 million poultry. In Nigeria, according to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security's data in 2017, the number of goats in Nigeria was 76 million, 43.4 million sheep, and 18.4 million cattle. In addition to small and large ruminants, poultry population in the year was at 180 million. The livestock sector was estimated to over 33 trillion naira. More recently, the National Agricultural Sample Census released in June 2024 by the National Bureau of Statistics show that Nigeria has over 52 million cattle and 40% of Nigeria's population engages in animal husbandry.
We have the highest population of livestock in West Africa. The latest publication of the Bureau of National Bureau of Statistics says clearly that the livestock population has grown up to 52 million cattle, and that in Nigeria, over 40% of the households in Nigeria are engaged in livestock. What does that tell you? It tells you that a ministry of livestock development is what we truly, really require to harness this huge potential of over 33 trillion naira of investment in a sector that has been forgotten for years.
However, this sector across West African countries is significantly affected by climate shocks, lack of adequate feed, nomadic methods of rearing animals leading to farmer-herder clashes, transboundary pests and diseases, over-dependency on importation of dairy products, among other challenges. To address these challenges militating the development of the livestock sector in the West African region, the ministers of agriculture from the various countries in the region and officials of ECOWAS recently converged in Abuja to validate a strategy for developing livestock and securing pastoral systems.
Thank you for joining us today in this very important milestone.
In a welcoming address delivered by Nigeria's Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, he stated that Nigerian government remains committed to developing the livestock sector and would continue working with ECOWAS to address the challenges in the sector.
Livestock production systems, especially mobile ones, face numerous challenges that call for the deployment of appropriate policies to guarantee its sustainable development. The Federal Republic of Nigeria has been resolutely committed to a proactive policy aimed at creating the right conditions for the sustainable development of livestock farming systems in whatever species. Having drawn up and launched our National Livestock Transformation Plan, the government of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has now created a full-fledged Ministry of Livestock Development in Nigeria. In this context, the orientations of the regional strategy for the development of livestock and securing pastoral systems in West Africa and the Sahel is well fit into this very powerful vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the livestock sector. Indeed, the priorities of our policies and strategies aims to make livestock farming one of the levers of sustainable development, free from conflicts between farmers and herders or between communities.
While presenting the Economic Community of West African States strategic document for validation, the Director, Agriculture and Rural Development of ECOWAS, Alensi Traore, stated that the shared regional vision of ECOWAS 2050 has been embedded in the strategic document. But what is this vision of the ECOWAS?
A region where livestock systems of all species are resilient, well governed, operate in symbiosis with each other, and are integrated into other agrarian system, contribute to security, food sovereignty and nutrition, and guarantors of social cohesion between community and sustainable management of the territory's natural resources.
The objectives of the ECOWAS strategy include to improve productivity and secure sustainable livestock system, to meet animal protein needs, and to facilitate the transformation of mobile livestock system. According to the experts, the strategy, when adopted, would address issues that have to do with movement of livestock, transboundary diseases, and encourage investment in the livestock sector in West Africa.
The first axis is enhance the economic potential and contribution to food sovereignty or livestock system and sectors. That's the first axis. That's very important. The second one, improve the governance of territories and natural resources essential to the production and resilience of livestock system. I guess having some discussion with you, Honorable Minister, I know this is one of your key points that you were emphasizing. How do we secure our cross-border? How do we control the movement of cattle coming from not only in West Africa but Central Africa and come into West Africa, particularly Nigeria with its neighbors that are not only ECOWAS member states but Central Africa countries also. The axis 3, promote One Health. This is very important. You know, all veterinarians will speak better on that. One Health means that we have these transborder animal diseases. We have animal diseases that are contaminated humans. We also have human health issues. We also have, so this approach of One Health should be promoted. We should work together on that.
An earlier meeting of the Ministers of Agriculture in the West African region had also advocated for education of herders, improvement of feeds and fodders, among others.
One major aspect of the strategy that we wanted to come out very strong was education for pastoralists. As we move to modify their system of production in view of what we presently have and the concerns we hold, we felt that educating the pastoralists was key. Another very important aspect that we all agreed should come out very strong also in that strategy and strengthened was, and then we insisted on this, was the issue of animal feed and fodder for sustainable animal nutrition and feed security.
The need for empowerment of women in livestock farming was also advocated for as part of the strategy to surmount challenges of livestock production in the West African region.
My humble request is to have a standalone intervention for women in, put it either livestock cooperatives, a subsector or an intervention that will address the challenges of women in this sector. We are talking of wives of the herders and other women that are actually involved. We might capture it subsequently as mainstreaming gender into livestock as a key intervention to galvanize all the concerns of women to address it.
The strategy document was adopted by all the participants during the conference.
Transboundary pests and diseases are other major challenges of livestock development in the West African region. There has also been a regional approach to address these challenges. In another segment, Partnership for Development, we are focusing on the third Pest de Petit Ruminant roadmap and blueprint meeting for West African countries and its impact on animal health and productivity in Nigeria and West Africa in general. Stay with us. Don't go away.
The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations is another organization working with West African countries to control transboundary pests and diseases affecting livestock.
The update on implementation of the ECOWAS EPS strategy.
In June 2024, FAO, in collaboration with West African countries, organized the West African countries' third Pest de Petites Ruminants Roadmap and Blueprint meeting for West African countries to develop a roadmap for the eradication of Pest de Petites Ruminants, PPR, in the region. During the meeting, the West African countries shared ideas, achievements in their various countries in controlling the disease and also developed strategies to curtail the disease in the region.
Despite our progress, the challenges still remain.
During the meeting, the Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, stated that Nigeria has put a lot of resources on vaccination campaign by procuring 12,000 doses of vaccine, building of diagnostic centers, as well as capacity building and a target to vaccinate 75% of sheep and goats against the disease. The minister added that the disease is transboundary and requires more synergy among stakeholders to eradicate in the West African region.
Despite our progress, the challenges still remain, and this includes the funding gaps, logistical hurdles in reaching remote areas, and the need for continuous training and capacity building for our veterinary workforce. To address these challenges, we will strengthen our partnership both regionally and internationally, and mobilize the necessary resources to support our concerted eradication efforts. Cross-border collaborations remain critical for us to make a meaningful progress and achieve desired results.
Speaking in an interview with journalists during the meeting, team leader of Emergency Center for Transboundary Animal Disease, an arm of the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, Otto Vianney Mohinda, stated that the expected outcome of the meeting is for West African countries to develop their own strategies from the roadmap.
In the past, we discussed global roadmap to fight this disease, and we thought that it is possible. FAO, in collaboration with World Organization of Animal Health, the ECOWAS, the African Union Commission, we put together a Pan-African roadmap, which we want to reflect on in West Africa through the 15 countries of ECOWAS. So we are discussing this roadmap here now, from which each country will develop its own strategic plan. We are saying that we can control this disease by 2030 by doing vaccination. Vaccination is the main option to control it, because when you vaccinate sheep or goats, they are 100% protected. If you know that you can vaccinate a disease and be 100% protected, so we can really stop it.
In a separate interview during the meeting, the Global Coordinator, Pest de Petites Global Eradication Program, Dr. Injoimi Felix, extolled the capacity of Nigeria Veterinary Research Institute, VOM, in Plateau State, Nigeria, in vaccine production, and challenged the country to be proud of the achievements of NVRI and use it as a training center for other African countries, as well as produce the vaccine for other countries.
VOM is also the vaccine producer. Why not boosting the capacity of VOM to produce vaccine not only for Nigeria, why not for the region, or why not even for Africa? Why the vaccine produced in VOM cannot be sent in Asia? By the way, Nigeria has the legacy, because the only vaccine that they are using around the world, there are two seed of vaccine that they are using around the world. One from India, and the second one is Nigeria 75, because it was discovered in Nigeria in 1975. And this vaccine is used in all countries around the world except India. Therefore, Nigeria should be proud of this, and then try maybe to make sure that how are we able to boost VOM production so that we position VOM as where the vaccine was identified, and make it as excellent center for anybody or anybody else in Africa, or why not from outside Africa.
Regional approaches to solve regional issues in the livestock sector will no doubt help to surmount the various challenges in the livestock sector in West African region. The collaboration and partnership can further be strengthened to tap the huge potentials of livestock in the region. This is the much we can take tonight. Join us again, same time, same station next week for another interesting episode. I am Gabriel Ojile. Bye for now.